you guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Carly. I'm so happy to have you here. I just checked in to an Airbnb. I'm staying in the cutest little tiny house. I actually am just doing a staycation. I am like 10 minutes from our house. I am taking the weekend to myself, and we're really going to talk a lot about this later on, but as parents, it can be so incredibly difficult to say that you need some time and space for yourself. There's a lot of guilt associated with that, and I know for me, even as someone who's pretty confident in like taking time for myself and making sure that I am on top of my mental health and like doing the things that I need to do to take care of myself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. It still felt really hard to actually take the time to like book a weekend and like spend the money to book a weekend and just make the plans and ask Drew to watch Wilder on his own. But if there's anything that 2020 has taught me, it's just that you have to take the time for yourself and ask for help when you need it. And so I finally did. I finally booked a weekend. I am so happy to be here. I already feel so much better, and I've only been here for 30 minutes. I am unplugging entirely from social media this week. I'm deleting all of my social media apps, and I'm not going to check them at all. So I'm really excited to take that space. But I am going to vlog the whole weekend. I thought it would be a really special time to just connect with you guys and share some of my thoughts about taking time and space for yourself in order to really nurture your mental health and just reconnecting with yourself and what that looks like for me. I'm gonna order some food. I am close enough to walk to downtown, so I'm gonna go take some time outside and walk to get my food. Look at this pizza. I mean, come on. Yes, please. It's amazing. It has fried eggplant on it. I'm dying. So I am about to kick back, have a beer. I brought an IPA from Blowing Rock Brewery. I love an IPA, so I'm gonna start a new book. I know that I am like one of the last people on earth to read this book, but I am so freaking excited that I finally got a copy, and I am gonna read it this weekend and just like sit with it and really soak it in, and I'm so excited. So the rest of my evening is gonna look very relaxed, and then tomorrow I'm so looking forward to a productive day of work. I'm gonna get to bed early tonight so that tomorrow when I wake up, I am ready to go. I just got done with some work and I am taking a quick break. I have sat down to do my makeup and I wanted to sit down and chat a little bit more about this weekend and kind of my intentions for the weekend and why the heck I'm even here in the first place. So I am gonna get ready while I kind of talk through this with you guys, but I decided to do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer you cannot pour from an empty cup. And I preach that to everybody who I talk to. It's advice that I give to other people when they feel like they are struggling. And sometimes we tend to give advice to other people and then we don't take it ourselves. And for me, I've noticed for quite a while that I was just in a season of needing to care for myself more. In 2020, I really was just exerting a lot of energy in a lot of other places, and there's only so much time you can give. And for me, I was paying attention to it and noticed it, and I just knew that soon enough I would need to take some time for myself. And I am pretty good about maintaining like a regular practice of self-care throughout the week and doing things on a daily basis, but sometimes you really just need to take time for yourself, like time away from everything that's going on and all the things that you're doing. And particularly after becoming a parent, being a new mom with a newborn is so much different than being a new mom with a toddler. When you are a mom to a newborn, they need you all the time, right? And they need you in a different type of way. You are needed constantly because, especially if you're breastfeeding, you're just needed all day long. But once you're the mom of a toddler, they need you all day long, but they're also people with like opinions and feelings and protests and objections and just all the things that like adults can do, but they don't necessarily have all the tools just yet to process those emotions. So there's just a constant need for us as parents to teach them and correct them and show them and allow them to have space, and it just takes a lot of energy, like a lot of energy. Everyone's always like, the newborn stage is exhausting, and although it is, they're just two different types of exhausting. And so I was just feeling that, and I said to Drew, how do you feel about me taking some time to myself? He encouraged me to do it. I really like slept on the idea for a while and didn't do it for quite some time because it's not something that's free. There's a guilt associated with it. Like, we talked about it quite a long time ago. And it's just one of those things that you can put off for the rest of your life and never do because it's just not a necessity. It's not something that if you don't do, like, it's not like you don't go to work or you don't pay your bills or you don't pick up your kid. Like, if you don't take time for yourself, it's not like something imminent is going to happen to you, but eventually it will catch up with you. So I put it off for a while. As a doula, I'm on call for my clients 2 weeks before their due date and 2 weeks after their due date. Basically, I'm on call until like July of this year so far. So this is kind of like my last weekend that I had to be able to go and not be concerned that I'd need to jump on call for one of my clients. It was very last minute, but I did it. I went and found this Airbnb, this little tiny house, and went for it. Another reason that I wanted to take this time to myself, honestly, you have to be in love with yourself, and you have to date yourself, and you have to treat yourself the way that you treat your significant others, because you are the only person that you have. Your kids will grow up and leave your house, and you can't rely on your partner to feel love for yourself. Your partner is there to be someone to amplify that love and to share that love with and to create a life with. But your partner is not the person who's supposed to make sure that you feel that you love yourself enough, or who gives you the love that you need to feel. You have to find that love within yourself first and foremost. And if you're always seeking love from some sort of external avenue that will slowly but surely implode. So for instance, what I'm doing this weekend is everything that I would do if I were with my significant other. I'm getting dressed up and dolled up and having wine and going to my favorite Italian restaurant and watching a movie in bed and wearing cute clothes and making myself feel good, and I'm doing it for nobody other than myself. And that is something that is a big difference, because would I love to have Drew with me? Absolutely, I would love to have Drew with me, and I intend to have trips with him that are like this as well. But I also want to have trips alone by myself like this because I love myself. I want to pour into myself. I want to connect with myself. I want to make sure that I'm good with me before I try and be good with other people. And the third reason that I wanted to do this is to take a big detox from social media. As somebody who uses social media for my job, it's something that I am on constantly, and I absolutely love what I do. I love my work. You guys have probably heard this story from a million people. Social media is really draining on your mental health. It truly is. And as anybody can tell you who consumes social media, when you take some intentional space away from it, it does wonders for your clarity of thought, your productivity, your mental health, your emotional stability. There's so many things that your body benefits from when you just unplug for even 12 hours, no less, 2 days in a row. So my biggest intention coming here was I deleted all my social apps as soon as I got here. I have just been focusing on doing things that make me feel good, that are good for my mental and emotional and spiritual health. Before I deleted my socials, I had somebody message me with the specific question of, wow, I can't believe your partner is okay with you doing that. And first of all, let's talk about the fact that I make my own decisions and I don't ask for permission to do things. Second, I have learned that I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't allow me freedom. Most of the time, if somebody is uncomfortable with you having range to do something or the freedom to do something, it's because of very selfish fears that they have. Nothing to do with you, nothing to do with your trustworthiness, or you haven't done anything to make them feel like they can't trust you. It generally stems from a deep distrust that they have against the world or themselves. So no, I did not have to beg Drew's permission. In fact, he is part of the reason I'm even here. He suggested it and pushed me to do it. But my advice to anybody who is interested in taking a trip just for themselves, and your partner isn't being supportive of it, either because they don't want to take care of your kids by themselves, or they don't like the idea of you staying somewhere without them where they don't know your whereabouts, or they're insecure about that portion of it, that is a tough one. And for me, I think what I've learned the most about relationships and getting things that you want out of relationships and working through issues with your partner is you have to have open dialogue consistently, frequently, openly, and you have to do it with a sense of neutrality. You can't go into the conversation guns up, ready to fight it out and be like, well, I deserve this because I do this, this, and this, and so you should let me have this. And if you don't, then you're being selfish. There's always the chance to get emotionally unraveled when you're having a conversation that is emotionally charged, especially something around the concept of trust, right? Of course I'm trustworthy. Why don't you trust me? Having that kind of a conversation can get really emotional really quickly. Whenever we're not in a state of neutrality, generally we say things we don't mean and we behave in ways that we don't want to behave in. And if you've ever said something in the heat of an argument and then an hour later you're like, oh, I don't really feel that way, and I have to go apologize now, that's generally because you are not neutral and your emotions take over. And that's a learned behavior that you have to unlearn. If you're looking to genuinely have this kind of open dialogue with your partner, I encourage you to approach it with a sense of neutrality and really maintain that neutrality while you're talking to them. And then second to that, I think it's really, really important to keep the conversation focused around what it's going to do for you as a person, which therefore impacts you as a partner and you as a parent if you have children, and talking about why you think a trip like this would actually benefit you and your family. because I think a lot of times when it comes to like taking time for yourself, there's this immediate defense of like, well, I want time for myself too from a partner. And that's fine to be able to take time for yourself as the partner too. Like your partner should also take time for themselves. I think everybody can benefit from taking time to themselves in this way if it's something that they're feeling called to. But just because you're feeling called to it and they aren't doesn't mean you shouldn't do it either. You are two totally different people who are living a really similar experience, and just because you feel differently than they do doesn't mean that you are wrong or that you should ignore that calling, because that's your intuition speaking to you. That's your intuition telling you, hey, you need to slow down and take some time for yourself. And allowing your partner to keep you in a position where you have to say no to your intuition, in my experience, is never the answer. So hopefully that helps. I know that's a really like emotionally charged question, but like I said, I am getting dolled up to go out to dinner with myself, and I'm taking myself to one of my favorite Italian restaurants. I'm gonna have a giant bowl of pasta and a couple glasses of red wine, probably some dessert. For now, I am gonna finish my makeup. I'm gonna go ahead and speed through this, but show you guys the finished product whenever I'm done. Oh wait, before I get into this, I have to tell you guys about this podcast that I found. I think I'm late to the party on it, but oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. It's called Just Break Up, and it is seriously so freaking good. I love this. The two people who host it, I want to be their best friends. They are amazing. They give such good advice. They talk through, people send in letters. They talk through different like relationships and different like problems and ask for advice and tell stories, and it is divine. I'm obsessed. Giving you a quick update. So I got a call this morning from Drew that Wilder has hurt his leg and that we need to take him to the doctor to possibly check out for an x-ray. He just like tripped and fell and he is not putting any weight on his leg. So my trip is gonna end a little bit differently than I thought it would, which is totally fine. That is one of the things that I think gave me so much comfort about this trip, is that I am 10 minutes away. So I am gonna get this place cleaned up and ready to go and pick up breakfast for Drew and I and some coffee, and then I'm gonna head home.